in Magi a couple of different ways how to design wallpaper, how to design Zoom backgrounds, backgrounds for your phone, backgrounds for your PC and your Mac, and backgrounds for your tablet. It's pretty simple, and we're just gonna make up some prompts along the way as we go, and just be a little playful with this. It's a good way to start Magi if you're not really utilizing your account, or you don't have an account yet, because there's nothing more fun than having a great holiday background for Halloween, for Turkey Day, and for Christmas, that your friends can go, oh, wow, where did you get that? Well, I designed it myself. So we're going to pop into Magi. Let me just open it up. And I'm going to open up a generated image. Let me just start from scratch, because this way you can look at what I'm doing, since this is a training. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And we are now in Magi. Okay, this is our dashboard. And we're gonna start by generating an image. And there's just so many choices here. So for those of you that are not familiar with this, these are all the different image generators we have. I don't even know if I've used all of them, because Dustin just keeps adding stuff. For backgrounds, I really like DALL-E 3 and Flux 1.1 Pro. They just seem to produce really, 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 really great quality for what we're looking for. So we're going to just start with DALL-E 3 now. Okay. And so we're going to think about a good prompt. So I'm going to start with Halloween. So Halloween background, dark pumpkins, gnarly trees, doesn't like the way I spelled gnarly, but I'm going to leave it there because I think that's the proper spelling. Halloween background, dark pumpkins, gnarly trees, to be used as a Zoom background. Too many eyes. Middle should. How do I want to phrase this? If we're going to do it as a Zoom background, we want most of the imaging to be toward the edges, because your head's going to be in the middle. How would you phrase that, Dustin?
I would just say, type it exactly as you said it, and then I would use the prompt enhance to have the AI rewrite it. That's
okay.
How I do it. I describe it the way that I think about it, and usually the AI enhance can fix my descriptions if they're not very good.
So do you think, since I wrote that it's a Zoom background, it will read it that way and put stuff to the edges? Let's find out.
Could be.
So for those of you that don't know, these three little stars here enhance our prompt to make it much, much better. So a hauntingly atmospheric Halloween scene, dark and mysterious ambiance, glowing jack-o'-lanterns with intricately carved faces, twisted, gnarled trees with bare branches looming ominously, scattered fallen leaves, foggy mist enveloping the ground. I'm loving this already. Full moon peeking through the clouds, casting an eerie silver light over the scene. Digital art style, highly detailed in the style of Tim Burton. That's not a surprise. Perfect for a Zoom background. Great. All right. So we're not going to do square because that would be silly. We're going to do landscape because Zoom is landscape. And I'm going to keep the style natural because we don't want it to be too vividly bright. It is Halloween. So let's generate that and let's see how that looks. And I share my my Halloween backgrounds every year in different networking groups, and it's fun when people show up and they're all using your backgrounds. This worked well because if you really look at it, the center doesn't have a lot in there, and you figure your head's going to be somewhere from the middle of the moon down, unless you like yourself really tiny in zoom background. So this works for me. Dustin, what do you think of this as a zoom background?
I think it looks great. I love it. The coloring, the style, it's perfect.
Very cool. Yeah, well, I what I particularly like is that the AI picked up on Zoom, knowing that there will be people in the middle, and there's just so little there, right? I mean, you don't care about the stairs or the jack-o'-lanterns that are, you know, in the distance and the gnarly trees, because the two sides with your head in the middle, that would work really well. So I'm going to try to do this as well in Flux 1.1 Pro. We'll have everything the same. We're going to change it to landscape 16:9. And we're not going to use any advanced options right now, but I don't know. Dustin, should I do safety tolerance all the way up?
Yeah, I mean, might as well.
Okay. And can you explain to our people that are watching this what the safety tolerance is?
Safety tolerance is to avoid potentially risque imagery. So a lower safety tolerance will say, you know, we want to make sure that it's completely safe for work and no potential for being not safe for work. Whereas a higher safety tolerance will be a little bit more lenient in terms of, you know, potentially risque content. Now, of course, it all depends on your prompt. If your prompt has nothing risque about it, then safety tolerance is sort of a moot point. But it is there just in case, you know, because we have seen that Flux tends towards, let's say, more. What's the good word here? More risque, I guess, clothing on women.
I gotcha. I actually like this one even better. It definitely really understood the prompt when you talk about zoom backgrounds, because there's almost nothing in the middle. Okay. You might lose a little bit of one of the jack-o'-lanterns and a little bit of the gnarly tree, but this is exactly what I was going for. So love this. Absolutely love this. So let's take this off and let's do Christmas. Okay, so build a Christmas zoom background with greens, reds, and whites. I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. And oh, I lost my
well, once you've had prompt enhance do it, it saves your previous prompt. And so in order to generate a new one, you're going to have to reset it by clicking the X button.
The X. All right. So I'm going to save this really quick just in case.
Yeah. And then clear it out so it resets.
Okay. Festive Christmas themed Zoom background. I'm sure this is wonderful. Ah, Norman Rockwell. Okay. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Let's stick with Flux for now. We'll keep our safety tolerance the same. And let's see what we get. It's really popping a lot of stuff in there. It's taking a bit of time.
Yeah, usually Flux 1.1 Pro is a little bit faster, so the servers must be under a lot of load. A lot of people loving this particular model. Oh wow,
That's pretty outstanding.
Yeah,
That really is.
great.
That is wild. So far I'm digging Flux now. I did. I would have maybe kept the tree a little bit more to the right to keep the background because you're going to be right in the middle. But still, I love the fireplace. I love the poinsettia. Is it poinsettia or poinsettia?
Oh, I never know. I just change how I pronounce it every other time, and that way I feel like I'm covering my bases.
Yeah. Well, but it's great because you as a human being you'd be right in the middle, so you'd lose that tree, but you still have a tree on the side. Most people don't have two Christmas trees within 5 feet away from each other in their living room, so that would be fine. You got
Some
the window.
people
You got the
love
fireplace.
Christmas way more than others, so I wouldn't put
Yes.
it
Yeah.
past someone to
No,
have two
this
Christmas
is a
trees.
bit much. So let's just gonna go to Dolly 3. We're gonna go to landscape. We'll keep this vivid because Christmas should be vivid. So we're going to go with the same prompt. Let's see what Dolly 3 generates. And you can do any generator you want. At this point, Dustin, how many different image generators, if you count like Flux 1.1 Pro, Flux 1.1, let's just count those as different generators. How many do you have now? 15, 16? How many are there?
Ooh, I lost count. I think it's 15.
That's pretty cool. I like this too, but I like the one before it better. I think Flux 1.0 Flux has become my favorite at this point. It's probably the closest thing to Midjourney that I have found, and this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Definitely a lot of reds and greens and whites in there. So
Yeah.
I think I will start using the background before this on my Zoom. I have a Zoom meeting later today. All right, this is fun. This is really, really fun. So let me do stop share for now. Okay, and let me come back here.
Have you tried
There we
Flux
are.
1.1 Pro Ultra?
I have, and one of the reasons I like Flux 1.1 Pro Ultra is the images are much larger.
Higher
So
resolution.
for me, massively larger, like 3 to 4 times larger.
Mhm.
So I, for somebody that is an artist and likes to print their stuff. Oh, my computer's doing weird stuff right now. I don't know what it's doing. Yeah, the Pro Ultra is better for me. It does take a little longer because it's putting a lot more pixels in there. But the thing that I have noticed is when I use the upscaler, it doesn't make it a lot larger after I design something in Flux 1.1 Pro Ultra because it's so large already. But it works well for everything else. So can you give a possible reasoning for that? Why it wouldn't make an image that much larger when it's already pretty large? Is there some limit with the Leonardo upscaler?
Yeah, all these AI models, they have limitations on sizes because the
They
bigger an
do.
image needs to be, the more compute power it needs to process it, right? It's just a natural limitation. It's like if you're mowing a lawn, this is a weird analogy, but if you're mowing a lawn and the bag on your lawnmower is this big and you want to mow a lawn that's, 15 times your normal lawn size, you're not going to fit everything in there, right? So all of these AI models, they have capacity issues. They have very strong and strict limitations on sizes. That's why every model that we have, on average, they only process images at about 1024 pixels. That's sort of like the industry baseline for what it outputs. That's like, roughly all the dimensions are going to be close to or around 1024. But then the Ultra model, it defaults to 2 or 3 times higher than that. And so the upscalers, they also have an upper limit. And so they won't process something that I believe is more than 4,000 pixels. I could be wrong on that. But they do have a limit. And so if you try to have it upscale something that's already close to that upper limit, it's not going to do much.
Yeah. Dolly 3 also produces pretty large images. So I've noticed that when I use the Flux Ultra and the Dolly 3, I don't really have to upscale it that much. And if I want to, well, then I use all my other software, including Photoshop, to do that. So This was fun. Dustin, do you have anything to add? I think this was we could keep it a little bit short today and go back to all the things that we should be doing. Anything you'd like to add about doing backgrounds for Zoom?
No, just real quick. So Dolly in particular is one of those models that's based on the 1024 sizes. So square is 1024 by 1024. The portrait is 1024 by 1792. And the landscape is just the reverse of that. So it's 1792 by 1024. Yeah, the Leonardo ones get kind of crazy with their dimensions. So the challenge there is like a lot of these models, there's no like standard, right? They all have different approaches to these, which can be annoying at times. But to your question, I mean, I'm not a big Zoom background user, but I think those who do use it, they really can let their imaginations go wild. Like the realism factor, I tend to gravitate towards realism in AI generated imagery, and so like I always think like having a very unique background, office background, would be like a really cool application of a Zoom background. Something that like maybe you could trick people into thinking it was actually real and make them think you are actually there. That would be a kind of a cool application. Or even something that's like a scene from a movie that you like would be like a really cool idea. Like what if you were to ask it to generate a Christmas themed alien background for you? I think that'd be super fun. So the ability to like combine concepts, I think, is really cool, where you take one thing and then you take another thing that have never been together and just have the AI sort of mesh them together for a cool background. That might be a fun exploration.
I think we should do that right now.
Yeah, give it a try.
In a few minutes. So let's go back into Magi. Okay. And let's X out of this. I just learned something new. So build a Christmas themed alien background. Oops. For Zoom meetings. Okay. I'm still in weekend mode. Build a Christmas themed alien background for Zoom meetings.
Add the phrase. Oh, okay. Well, you can. Let's see if it does it down the bottom. Does it say in the style of Ridley Scott? Oh, it's going cartoony with it. So it's not going to go Ridley Scott. It's cartoon.
Oh, well, we can do it. We can do it over. We could do it over. I'm gonna try Flux, and let's do landscape, and that's good. And let's give that a shot and see what it. Cartoon style alien with green skin and antenna, wearing a Santa hat. That's adorable. That is adorable. If he was a little bit more up to the left, it would work for me. Because if you're in the middle, he's gonna block you a little bit. You're gonna block him a little bit. That's really, really cute. This is fun. Hopefully, anyone watching this is laughing right now. I'm gonna X out of that. What does this one do? Does this go to the original prompt?
Yes,
it does. All right. So what would you add to this before we click our three buttons?
So I would say in the style of Ridley Scott. He's the famous director for the Aliens movies.
Oh my goodness. My fingers are not typing well today. Build a Christmas-themed alien background for Zoom meetings in the style of Ridley Scott. And let's see what it's going to give us when we click that. Alien landscape tower and Christmas trees. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's give that a shot.
See how Flux does with that. I've given Flux some Ridley Scott styled prompts before, and it tends to do a pretty good job. Although this one, I think the prompt might have gotten away from it because that is
Yeah,
more traditional alien, not necessarily the alien that I'm thinking of.
I kind of like it because you figure if your head's going to be
Oh,
right about here, then your
yeah,
hat is the alien spaceship.
right. Still pretty cool. Another
Yeah.
thing that if I were doing this, I might do something like a Batman Batcave background decorated for Christmas. That might be a fun one.
Okay, let's try that. I'm going to try this two ways. No, I don't want him standing in the center of the Batcave. Standing off center. Okay, let's give this a shot. Everything is good. All right. Christmas decorations. Twinkling lights and a tall, elaborately decorated. Yeah, he's in the center again.
Yeah.
So he'd be totally blocked.
So some of
Right.
the phrases or descriptive words you might use is, you know, to the left of the frame or to the right of the frame, because it understands what the frame is, the area of the image.
Seriously, fingers are typing. Standing confidently to the left of the Batcave. Will that work?
To the left of frame. So frame meaning the area of the image, and then in the Batcave. To the left of the frame in the Batcave.
Okay, let's give this a shot. So you got to be real specific with your AI, folks, which is why you always want to read your prompt before you click that button. Better. Not real happy with Batman himself. He looks kind of weird. He looks more like Bane. Okay,
It's
if
a
you're a Batman.
style. Yeah, it's definitely a stylistic choice on that Batman.
All right, so how about realistic style? Did we have a name there of somebody? Digital art.
It says digital art, cartoon
So I want
style.
realistic style.
Yeah, reminiscent of comic book illustrations. So a lot of that. If you, I've learned to put some of the expectations in the original prompt before enhancing it. So if you want it to be photorealistic, always start with a photo of, and then write your prompt. Or if you want it to be an illustration, say an illustration of. You always add that into your original prompt. You still want to be as descriptive as possible with the original prompt before you enhance it, because if you don't put those details in there, the AI has to come up with it for you and assume a lot of those details, and that might dictate your entire prompt, and you might get a really bad optimized prompt for a style that you did not want.
Right. Understand. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's not realism. I wouldn't call that a photo. It's so funny. Everything else was really great. And then we went into the comic book stuff. It's not really doing real well.
Well, you still got a lot of descriptive words in there that are making it. Let's see. Background. We don't have any photorealism except for that photo of Batman. So it still says digital art.
Digital art. So let's remove that. Realistic style is good.
Yeah, and usually with photography, you want something photoreal. You want to add some details about the camera style, and things like that kind of really inform the AI of how to draw in that photorealistic style.
Canon professional camera. Would you have a specific type Canon camera?
Maybe add DSLR in there. I'm not a photography guy. I kind of default to the prompt enhance, because if you start your prompt with something that says photo of, it tends to put in those camera details for you. It'll pick a camera, it'll pick a lens.
Right. So let's redo the prompt and let's see what it comes up with. No, just stayed with Canon DSLR professional camera. Okay. All right. Last one was
70mm lens.
Oh, it did. When did it drop that in?
You just had to scroll down.
Yeah. Still not feeling it. Just, I don't know. His face is all kind of smushed up. But that is what happens sometimes with AI. It doesn't always give you exactly what you want. Although Flux 1.1 Pro generally does give me exactly what I want. You got to play with it a little bit. We're not going to do that right now. So hopefully you guys had fun watching us create these silly backgrounds. And that's about it for today. Anything you'd like to add, Dustin?
No, this just goes to show that AI can be more than just work and productivity. It can be a lot of fun too.
Cool. All right, guys. You have a great holiday. We may or may not be back next week, but pop into our YouTube and our Instagram and other stuff and see if we are.